Alright, morning everyone. So today is the first day in I'd say probably at least 2 months that it hasn't been above probably 32 degrees. And it's only really 25, I think. Yeah, 26 that one says. Forecast was 25 today and tomorrow, cloudy and windy. So really good. You can probably tell by the title of this video that it's got to do with the Z as well. I didn't think I'd be doing this, but it's really frustrating that the speakers, the stereo in that car. So we're going to change it. I've already I've put a screenshot of everything that I've got coming. So I got the sub. It just so happened they're on special. They're like $170 off, and I thought, oh well, that's a sign. Me and the missus were driving in the car the other day, and even she said, this just doesn't sound right. Something's not right with the stereo. And I said, yeah, there's no bass. To get any bass, you have to have it so loud that you can't talk to each other. So yeah, I like my music to have a bit of bass. And then you get in like your best car, and it just sounds like poop, absolute poop. It's just, I don't know what they did with that car, but it just doesn't sound right. I don't know if it's because it's such a small cabin, or the rear tyres are like 12 inches from your ears. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is, but it's just the stereo is just not up to scratch for what the car is. So I think this is probably the best way to fix it. So worked out all right in the end. So that's on its way. I've just ordered that. The only other things I need, so I was actually going to do this to the Tirana a long time ago, and I've got this cable here. It's 4 gauge cable, which is way too thick for that. That's like for 80 to 100 amps. Not necessary for what I'm doing. I only need up to 30 amps, 25. I think they say 25 amp fuse for the sub. So I just need stuff rated for that. And plus, you could use that. It's not an issue to use it. It's just going to be harder to run because it's twice as thick as 8G. So yeah, 8G is what I need, not 8 gauge, not 4 gauge. So the higher the number, the smaller the wire is. So 0 gauge, 0 gauge is like welding wire. You can use that for your battery terminals and stuff like that. Probably even overkill for that. And then that's 4 gauge, and then I need 8 gauge, which is like 7 mil in diameter, which is plenty enough for like 50 amps, and I only need it up to 25. The longer you'll run, the bigger gauge wire you need, because you're going to have some voltage drop otherwise. I'm only running at 4 meters, so it's not an issue. So 8 gauge is fine. If it was a really big car and the thing called for 8 gauge, but it was a big car, you'd use that wire. But yeah, 8 gauge is going to be a lot easier to hide under the door sills and kick panels, and so I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and run the wires. I've had a quick look right near the battery on the firewall. There's a grommet, so I'm hoping I can just chuck a little pinhole through that, push the wire through. It'll come into the passenger footwell, and then we'll route it through nicely with a few zip ties, go underneath the door sill panel. I'm not even going to try and take it off, but they do come off quite easy, because I've had when I was doing the dash cam, I've had it off. So they just pop off. Because it's new, nothing breaks, because everything's nice and, like rubbery, and it moves. Whereas when they're 20 years old and you do that, they just snap because of the plastic's gone all hard. So I might get away with it, and then I'm not sure how I'm going to get from the back of that into the boot, but we'll find a way. I'm sure there's a way to hide a 7 mil wire. That shouldn't be a drama. And then once it's in the boot, we've got a clear run straight to the sub where the sub's going to go. So power wire shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to get that from J-Car. It's only $7 a metre. I'll get 5 metres because I don't like to join it if you're short. So I get 5 metres, and whatever I don't use just goes in my spares there, and we'll use it later. So all good there. We'll probably use whatever's left over of that for the earth as well. So because you need to earth the sub. So it'll come with a bit of wire, and it might be enough. So I'm not sure. We'll see how we go with that. Then obviously right where you connect your new power cable, where the battery is, direct connection to the battery, you'll need to put a fuse. So I've got that. It's a breaker instead of a fuse. So if it does trip, you just trips a switch, and then you just trip it back. So yeah, you don't have to worry with fuses. That's much better for that kind of stuff. So I've got a 30 amp version of that coming from Amazon. So the sub's coming from eBay. The wire's coming from J-Car. The fuse is coming from Amazon, so it's a bit all over the place, and that should be really all I need to do it. So yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. So we'll attack that when the sub comes. Alright, morning everyone. So yeah, you can probably tell by the video that I'm doing something that I said I probably wasn't going to do, and that's replacing the sub in the Z. I did film an intro to this video. As normal, we went for almost half an hour, so I think I'm going to can it. I might use bits and pieces out of it. I'll drop the screenshots in, but long story short, I went to a few shops. They wanted way too much money to install it. They're talking $600 to run one wire, and I'm capable of doing it. I just didn't want to do it because it was a new car, but for that money I'll do it. Also, they were charging me $700 for the sub when I could get a better one for $500, but you can't. Anyway, the whole reason I scrapped the start of that video was just went way too long, so I don't want to get into it. But anyway, ended up finding it over east. Yeah, so instead of being like $1,300, it's now cost me $600, including the sub, the wiring, and the fuse, which you'll see now. I haven't got the sub yet, but I do have the fuse just rocked up today. I got the wire yesterday. So yeah, just waiting on the sub. So I got 5 meters of red, which will be enough to get from the battery to the boot. I've got 2 meters of black for the earth. It's 8 gauge wire, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's not. Yeah, 8 gauge, 8G. That's plenty for up to 50 amps. The sub only calls for a 25 amp fuse, so it's going to be drawing less than 25 amps. I've got a 30 amp. I couldn't find a 25, so 30 is close enough. So we'll do that. So I should have everything I need to install it. I did say in that first video, I'll repeat it now. You may hear things twice from the intro to now, but I will chop that intro up a fair bit just to trim it down a bit, because otherwise this video is going to be way too long for not a lot of work. So plan of attack is I can make this wire. So that's going to connect to the battery that's in the car. Then we're going to leave a little pigtail like that, and then that will feed into either side of this. It doesn't really matter, probably like that kind of thing. So we'll do that today, and then when I get the sub, what I'm going to do is just connect this. Also, I'll put the ferrule for this side on this side, and then we'll just run this wire connected to the battery, but outside of the car. That way I can hook it all up, make sure it works. Then we'll disconnect it, run it through the car properly, so you can't see this wire, and then reconnect it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't want to go running this wire and then something doesn't work. So yeah, it's because this is going to take the most amount of time. It may take half an hour, 40 minutes, I'm not sure. I did have some 4G wire, which is double the size of this, can carry twice as much amps, but it's not necessary. And it's because it's double the diameter, it's going to be a lot harder to hide in the interior, to tuck under carpets and plastics and things like that. So I bit the bullet and just went and just got the proper wire that's more suited to the job. There's no reason you can't use a bigger wire. You definitely can't use a smaller wire. You can go bigger. If I had the room to hide it, well, that wasn't an issue, then I would definitely use the bigger wire. So let's get into this. I've never wired one of these up before, so this will be a first for everyone. Actually, I haven't done any of this on the Z or I mean, the newest car I've ever installed a stereo in is my Tirana, and that's a 1975. So you can imagine the difference. So that is going to go in there. This thing does take 4 gauge and 8 gauge, so it has like an adapter. I think we're going to get rid of the adapter. I'll just get my ferrules. So pretty much it's going to be, I'd say it's going to be one of these big ones. Oh, perfect fit. Yep, so lovely. So what you want to do is, so right on the end of the H is where we want to strip it. Like that. These are probably not bit thicker wire, so you don't want to go spinning them. You want to try and fit it in as much as we can. Actually, that's not going to work, I don't think. We may have to spin it. Mate of mine that's pretty switched on with electronics always told me never to spin it. He did tell me a reason, but I can't remember what it was. There we go. So you got the wire almost at the end of the ferrule there, and then you use these special pliers. They just got like a, and then they just clamp down. So no need to solder, and just make sure you're pushing, and that's it. And it leaves a nice square profile and won't come out. I am going to drop some solder in there though. I always like to solder my connections. So that's that side. Then same with this side. So this is going to go kind of the same way. So really we want to strip up to the C. I'm just lucky that I've had the writing to help me out. So this one, because this is a lot thicker, I won't, and I need it to bend a bit. Like that. And same deal, I'm going to crimp and solder this. So that's it for that. I think the die that I have here already will be good enough for this. I don't know if you're going to be able to, should be able to. This is just really awkward, this thing to use by yourself. There is a, so that's why I don't like to spin it, because see how I've got wire sitting out there? That's what I want. So that's where I'm going to feed the solder into after we crimp it. What's going on? Yep. Oh, don't tell me they're broken. Oh, okay, yeah. They were down. This is really a, if you're going to use this by yourself, you've got to kind of get it loose. There's no spring in the handle, so yeah. Okay, oh, no, not yet, next one. Okay. So, there is, I kind of like to keep the spade flat. It kind of looks a bit better, but it doesn't really make a difference. And now, once they're tight and they can't move, then you can move it around a bit easier. Okay. And that's what you end up with. Really nice solid connection. There probably is no need to solder that, but I am going to solder it. And I always trim these wings off a bit too. So that die was probably not the right one, because it squashed it a fair bit. But I mean, your wire is still there. Everything's still nice and tight, so it's all good. So next thing is a coffee. And also we've got to figure out if we need, yeah, so you can still use that adapter, so we probably will do that, but we still got not up to that yet. We probably don't need, oh yeah, this might work. That actually goes on the inside like that, so that'll go over it. It's not going to go over it when we do heat shrink though, that's the only thing. So bear with me, I've got a few other little tools. So yeah, just trim the little wings off. If you don't trim them, they're a little bit sharp and they'll cut through the heat shrink. That's all, like that. That way it's not sharp at all. And then we want two 2 bits of heat shrink, and you kind of want to go from where those wires are, probably a fair bit down like that, and we'll try and make them the same. Helps if you cut it square. No one's ever, I mean, if you lift the battery tray, someone was going to see it, but try and make them kind of nice, like you put a little bit of effort into it. So the end of that is not square, so I'll just recut both, and that's long enough. So I'll just crank the soldering iron up. This is going really well. I've used it a few times. It's my first ever electric soldering iron, and it seems to be working very well. And I've also got some wire braid. That's important, and that is going to hide underneath the heat shrink. So there. This stuff's a bit tricky to cut. I mean, you see me cut it, but if you don't do anything to it, it'll just fray. So as soon as you cut it, you just got to melt the tips a little bit. Otherwise, you get this thing, a bit of a bird's nest like that. And even on the bit that you cut, if you want to reuse that bit, definitely just melt it like that. That's all it needs, like that. Alright, so I want to kind of put this somewhere where it's not going to melt anything. So we'll use some metal. And that is probably hot by now. So it doesn't need a lot of solder. It really is just a insurance. It's not like you got to flood the whole thing with solder. Okay, that's enough on that one. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get too much in there. It's just an insurance policy just to lock it in a bit. I do have a vice, but I like making things difficult for myself. So don't know if you'll see that, but we're just going to chuck a little bit in at the top. That's enough, I think. Yeah. There's enough in there. Okay, turn that off. Then I think it was this one. Yep. So I like the split stuff because you don't have to kind of put it on. You can put it on at any stage. If you buy the stuff that is the exact, like with no split in it, you've got to feed it on before you do something like that, and chances are, well, I always forget. And this stuff, I just buy this from JCar. They do a 6, 9 and 12 mil, something like that. But I mean, you can really stretch it, so it doesn't matter what size you get really. Obviously, you're not going to use a 12 mil on 7 mil, but you can use a 12 mil on like 15 mil wire, and it'll just stretch around, and still be pretty happy doing it. It's a bit of an effort to get on, but it'll go. And I'll only do this for the wire that's in the engine bay. And it's kind of technically not even in the engine bay, because when we go on the car, when I get the sub, we won't do it today, but when I get the car and you'll see me wiring, you'll see that the battery is kind of secluded from the engine bay a little bit with I mean, it's still going to get hot in there, but you don't want it rubbing on things. So we'll do this, and this nylon, just give it a bit more abrasion resistance. If I can get it on, there we go. So your ends will always look a bit funny. I know it's black and it should be red, but I don't have red, so it is what it is. And that's all you need. So you just got to even it out a little bit. My heat shrink, where did that get to? Here. Like that. So we'll cover up, so all that's left is the bit that connects to the battery. I might actually do this with my heat gun, might be easier. Okay, and that's it. So you just end up with two nice little ends like that. And then we might have got a bit excited with the heat on that one, but she's fine. That'll lock it in. Plus this heat shrink has glue in it as well. So when it locks in, when it shrinks, it locks in with hot glue to the whatever you're doing. I don't know if I'm going to get this on now. I might do. This is just like a little gland, I think, for this bit. Oh yeah, that'll fit nice. Yep, that'll fit quite nice. And then we want to put it in here. I think this just stops it from, you know, having too much movement in there. That's all. So that'll be wrong way. So it's got to go that way. How's this one? Okay. I've used these before, but I haven't actually used them properly. That way. So it's got to go that way. Yep, like that. And then put this on. That's what I mean. If you did get the one that you can't just put on whenever, you've really got to think about what you're doing, or do one end and then do everything, and then just close up the other end. But it's just easy to get this one. You can kind of see the red colour through it, but I mean, you'll see that it's connected to the positive side of the battery and know that it's positive wire. Like that. We'll do it nice and tight. And it'll actually bite into that ferrule and make its own little hole. That's it, that's tight enough. So that's fine, and then this will go this way, wind on, and we're done. It's all sealed, as good as that side is. So yeah, perfect. I can't do anything to this side because I'm gonna have to. I can put this on. That's not an issue. We might do that, but this is going to have to be. This is going to have to be pushed through the firewall and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of want to. I probably won't actually, because I do need this to be as slippery as possible to pass it through the firewall. But that's your main battery connection, heat sink or shrink on both sides, and a breaker, not a fuse. So that way, if it pops, you end up with that, and then you just close it, and then she's back to a connection. Go and find out what's wrong. If it pops again, it's that. And if you want to isolate it, you press that and it's isolated. So very easy. And then yeah, the rest of the red in here is one piece. It's got about 5 meters now. So yeah, that'll go all the way through and then into there. And then the bit that's in the engine bay from here to the firewall, I will put. I did have a bit. It's not a long distance. This bit here is probably. Well, I got heaps of it anyway, but I did have a bit that kind of would have worked. Yeah, like that. Would Is this the same stuff? Oh, this is actually smaller, about the same size. So I'll keep that. Yep, and that's all it's going to be is into the firewall. This wasn't this long of a distance, but it's got a loop around to make it look nice. So that's why I left a fair bit on. But it's literally like that. But you can't just go from there to there because you've got to give it a bit of. It's got to be straight for a little bit. So that's okay. We'll keep that. And that's it. And now we just play the waiting game. So today's Friday. The sub should be here on Tuesday. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to do it during the week. Just depends how I go, but if I can take a day off, I'll try to, and we'll try and do it during the day, and then muck around with it. I've got a few things, so I will need that again to do the crimp, so I'll bring all this with me in the garage when we're ready to do it. But I've got my sound meter, so we'll give that a shot. When we'll do a before and an after, and we'll test out the dB of the stock sub and then test out the new one, and hopefully there's a difference. I'm pretty sure there will be. I couldn't find a lot of videos actually online about the Serwin Vega. A lot of like forums, yeah, there's a lot of forums and people love them, but there's not a lot of videos on YouTube about it. There was a lot about the, oh, there's another one. Oh, the JBL. So that's the $1,000 one that I didn't get. There's a few videos on that, and that's really punching, and that's only an 11-inch sub, but being that it's almost double the price, you know, there might be more power involved and it's different. But yeah, so we'll see how we go with that. I think this is going to be perfect. The JBL is probably next level. If I was going to change all the speakers, then I'd get something like the JBL, just so it's louder to complement with the other speakers. But leaving your stock speakers, even though they're Bose, they're not fantastic, but they're good enough. It just needs a bit more bass. So this will be the perfect little compromise, I think. So there's going to be some soldering, so I'll have to bring that. I might even charge that battery up. I haven't even charged that battery since I've had this, and I've used it a fair bit. So yeah, that's working really well for the soldering on. We'll need that. We'll need this. This solder 0.71. I'm not a fan of that. It's good for little stuff. I prefer the 1mm solder. Oh yeah, and I just seen that. We're definitely going to need that. The multimeter. So I'll just chuck everything that I need here. I know I'm like jumping the gun a bit. Probably will need them. Probably need scissors. Yeah, probably gonna. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need all this. I'm actually gonna bring my toolbox, the blue one, not this big one. So if there's anything in this big one that I need, I've got to bring it now. But otherwise, this will come to the garage. I'll just roll that down. That's easy. This is a bit more difficult. I'll do it if it's a big job, but for this, it's not worth it. Probably need nice little snips. What else? I'm gonna need zip ties, so that's for sure. Maybe the heat shrink, the little stuff. So I'll bring that. Boom, boom, boom. Multimeter. I think that's going to be about it. And trim tools. I almost bought a new set of trim tools. I was at Super Cheap yesterday, but then I found these, so that was lucky. So they'll come with me. I just ended up getting some. My mate does detailing, but he does car yards, and he was telling me about CT Chemtech. That's called, so CT Chemtech. 18, 16 and something else. So there's a foam, a wash and a wash and wax, and that's all he uses for what he does at car yards. Loves it. He told me about it and he goes, just give it a shot, and they're on special at Super Cheap. So I just bought a litre. I've already got the 18, the truck wash, and I use that as a bit of a strip wash because it is quite harsh, plus I mix it stronger. So before you're going to ceramic coat a car, that's what I use. I don't normally use it on a normal wash because I don't think it has any UV inhibitors or anything in it, so I don't use it. I use the Bowden Zone. But he said give it a shot. It was on special, so I got the foam and the wash and wax. So we'll give that a shot. I think that's it. I'm going to bring all my wire wrap with me. I think I've probably got some. Oh yeah, there's an assortment. I'll leave that. They're real big ones in here, I think. Yeah, that's. I don't like this corrugated stuff. I'm trying not to use that anymore. Another good, like this stuff. This stuff's really good. That's like a factory. What a factory would use. That's a bit thin. That's kind of the stuff I did want to use just now. This stuff is. But that's not. It doesn't have a split on it, so you've got to think about it beforehand. So, yeah, probably not actually. The only thing I like that better is you can pull it and you can see through it a bit more, so you can actually see the red color in the wire. That's the only good thing about it. I've probably got the right size in here. Yeah, here we go. So this fabric stuff is kind of like a factory OEM kind of thing. So I'll do that in the boot to tidy things up. But it's not. It's probably not as abrasive or temperature resistant as this thick stuff is. This is really good stuff. You're not going to wear through that in a hurry. I just thought of something else. What was it? I can't remember now. There was something else I was going to grab. Anyway, I'll think about it later. Oh, Tessa tape. So yeah, another good. This stuff, it's like a fabric. I'll bring it out in the sun. There's two types. I'll bring both. I think I've got one open there, and yeah, no, I don't have the other one, so I'll bring them too. So this stuff is like a Tessa. It's an OEM, what OEM uses as well. Really good if you know how to use it. And I say that because it only sticks to itself. It won't stick. So like if you were to put it on that, it just fall off. But if you stick it to itself, it'll never come apart like that. It's kind of one. The glue's just you really got to pick it and get it off. I can't even get it off. See, you can see there. It's just really good stuff. So yeah, good for making wiring looms, things like that you can't use other things onto. So they're good. I'll bring them. And this is the same, I'm pretty sure. Where's the end of it? Yeah. Wow. Is that it? There we go. Again, fabric tape, and I'm pretty sure this, yeah, you can tell by sticky. It just doesn't even stick to your finger, but it'll stick to itself. So good stuff. When you do the loom, you got to really overlap it a fair bit. You can't do like a 50-50 roll loop, because it'll just come apart because there's not enough of it sticking to itself. You really need like almost like an 80% overlap, and yeah, but it looks nice and doesn't come off. And the best thing is too, if you need to take it off to add another wire or something, and you need to take it all off, it doesn't leave any sticky residue like insulation tape does. So that's a bonus as well. So all good. I will grab probably this thing, put all the little tools in that bag, and then I cleaned this out the other day, so this is empty, and we'll put the bigger stuff in there. All right, ready to go. So all tools in there, and yeah, so those two and the lighter blue, the smaller toolbox, and that should yeah, that should do me. So yeah, we'll see you when the sub gets here, and I'll find a bit of time. I don't want to start it and not be able to finish it, so I'm not going to do it. It's probably going to have to be on the Friday or the weekend, because I want to start it and finish it, because the cars, there's not enough room in my garage to there's not enough room in the garage to have both cars in there and work on the Z with the doors open and swinging tools around everywhere. So the wagon's going to have to go out, and the Z will have to go in the middle, open the doors and boot up, reverse it in. That way you're not walking around the door every time. The door kind of opens and you just walk into it. It's just much easier. I know I overthink things, but it's just less chance of scratchage every time you're walking past the car, and if you've faced in and you got to walk past the door and then open and close the door. And I've done it before and I don't like it. So yeah, the cars have to go out, Z reversed in the middle, all the doors, well, both doors open, boot up, bonnet up, and we'll go from there. And that should be enough. That should do it. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to start it on a Wednesday or Thursday after work, and it gets to dinner time and I still haven't finished it, because then I'm gonna have to put everything away unfinished and then take it all out again and set it all up. So I don't want to do that. So I'm better off either waiting till my Friday that I finish early, or Saturday, and we'll just knock it over in one sitting. Saturday's going to be, oh no, that's this Saturday. So yeah, no. So I don't know what the temperature is next Saturday, so we'll see. It's been really nice the past few days. Today's like 30, so I'm about to put the aircon on pretty soon, because it's just starting to get a bit hotter now in the Arvo. But the last few days have been 25 and cloudy, so really, really nice. So all good. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go and edit this up. I'll edit the first little bit that was half an hour, try and bring that down to 5 minutes if I can, because I watched it back when I was editing it and it's just way too much information. So yeah, I'll see what I can do. But anyway, we'll catch you guys when the sub gets here.